All right, let's just jump right in. Today, we're going on a bit of a treasure hunt inside one of the biggest, most well-known companies in the world. We're going to peel back the layers on a name you think you know to uncover the hidden value of a really key Samsung company.
So, quick question for you. When you hear that name Samsung, what's the very first thing that pops into your head?
And look, you're probably thinking about the phone you might be holding right now, or the TV in your living room, or maybe the microchips that pretty much power everything. And yeah, you'd be absolutely right, but that's not even the whole story. It's really just the tip of the iceberg. But here's a thought. What if I told you that the company at the absolute core of this massive empire, the one that basically holds the keys to the entire kingdom, is one you've probably never even heard of?
And that is exactly what we're going to get into. Let's pull back the curtain on the Samsung you probably don't know.
This company, it's called Samsung C&T. And listen, it's not just some random division. It is the de facto holding company for the entire Samsung group. Think of it as the brain, the command center, sitting right at the very top of that whole corporate pyramid.
And get this, it's not just some shell company that holds stocks. Oh no, Samsung C&T runs its own massive businesses. We're talking huge construction projects, global trading, high-end fashion. They even run one of South Korea's biggest theme parks, Everland. This thing is a beast all by itself.
Okay, so how do we even begin to figure out what this company is worth? Well, we have to start with the official story, what I'm calling the official value map.
So this map, right, it's drawn using this accounting thing called book value. All it really means is the price of an asset when it's first written down in the company's books. But here's the kicker, and this is super important. It's usually based on the original price they paid maybe years or even decades ago, not what it's actually worth in today's market. So what's on this map? Well, Samsung C&T holds these massive stakes in the crown jewels of the Samsung empire. We're talking Samsung Electronics, Samsung Life Insurance, and Samsung Biologics. And they're all recorded at these, let's say, historic book values. Okay, so you add all that up, and you land at a total book value for just these key assets of around 36.3 trillion Korean won. Now, that is a huge number for sure, but I really want you to lock that number in your head, 36.3 trillion, because, it's just where our story begins.
Right, so that was the official map. Now for the fun part. Let's go off-road a bit and uncover the real treasure.
Which brings us to the billion-dollar or trillion won question. What are these things actually worth today?
And here it is. Just look at this. On the left, that's our official number, that 36.3 trillion won we talked about. But on the right, well, that's what those same assets are worth on the market right now. The difference is just, wow, it's staggering.
Let's just spell it out, number for number. Book value, around 36.3 trillion won. But the real live market value, it's closer to 106 trillion won. That is a gap of nearly 70 trillion won just sitting there, hidden in plain sight because of old-school accounting.
Okay, that is a mind-bendingly huge number. But what does it mean for, say, a single share of the company? Let's break it down and see how this creates a totally new value per share.
This is where it gets really interesting. The original book value per share, or BPS, was sitting around 253,000 won. But the second you plug in the real market values, that adjusted BPS just explodes to over 676,000 won. To put it another way, the real value of the assets behind every single share is actually 2.67 times higher than what the official books would have you believe. It's just an incredible amount of hidden value.
But you know what? Believe it or not, we are not done. The rabbit hole goes even deeper. There's still more treasure in this chest.
See? That whole calculation we just did, that was based on just a few of Samsung C&T's big holdings. We didn't even touch others' super valuable assets that are still sitting on the books at their old value. Things like a massive stake in Samsung SDS, or companies they own outright, 100%, like Samsung Wall Street. And all of this, it brings us to our final massive question. We started with the official map, right? Then we found a treasure that was worth nearly triple what was written on it. And now we know there are even more chests we haven't even opened yet. This huge gap between the books and reality, it has enormous implications, not just for investors, but for how the entire Samsung empire is run. Which leaves you wondering, just what is the true total value of Samsung C&T?